Guys, what's up? This is JC from Total Body Training, where I help people get lean, gain muscle, and to build confidence. And today, we are talking about avoiding negative people in our lives. That's right, I'm talking about negative Nancy's, pissy Peters, and Kelvin Killjoys. Inevitably, we'll encounter some naysayers and some negative people in our lives. And I hadn't really thought about the significance of this until I started reading about the importance of avoiding it from other people who are successful. Arnold Scharzenegger mentions it in his book, Total Recall. I put a link in the description section with a little bit of information about this if you want to check out the book. It's a really good memoir. But he has a list of rules in his book. They're Arnold's 6 rules for success. And I'm just going to talk about one of those points. Rule number 6 says, avoid naysayers. If someone in your life is constantly downing your goals or ideas, this is really going to discourage you from accomplishing whatever it is that you want to do. So, avoid them if possible. And Arnold's not the only guy who mentions it. The Stoic philosopher Senecca also mentions it in his book on the Shortness of Life. And I posted a link in the description section to this book so you can look it up. I think it's phenomenal. Go read it. And Senecca outlines 8 reasons why you'll make it through life never having accomplished your goals. But for the purpose of this conversation, we're just going to focus on numbers 5 and 6. These are number 5 and 6 on Seneca's 8 reasons why you'll make it through life never having succeeded on your goals. And, it's because they both deal with people. Number 5 says worrying about what people think about you. It's just that simple. So if you live your life, bound by the things that people say about you and concerned about what others' opinions are of you and your goals and your life, then you're not really living freely. You're living a life that's based off of what other people think about you, so you're always going to be at the whim of other people's feelings and thoughts. And, not everyone's always going to agree with you, and not everybody's going to understand what it is that you want for your life. After all, how could they? It's inside of your head what you want for your life. So you need to kind of try to stay away from that, caring, or maybe avoiding people who say negative things in your life. Alright, number 6 on Seneca's list of reasons why you'll make it through life never having succeeded your goals is self-imposed servitude to thankless people. So essentially doing things for people who don't return the favor. If you're constantly doing things for friends, family members, or maybe a significant other, and they never return the favor, ever, if someone frequently asks you for favors and asks you to do things for them, and when you ask them for a favor, they don't return it, then you aren't valuing yourself. This is a one-sided relationship. You're allowing for someone to take advantage of you. In the process of being overly nice to this person, you'll start to devalue yourself. This negative way of thinking is something you can't afford if you plan on staying focused with your goals. And while it might not stop you from achieving a goal in the long run, it'll definitely slow you down. Negative people are everywhere. We all know a few of them. They love to give unsolicited advice about your life, especially when they hear you have some kind of goal or some kind of desire, something that you want to do with your life. A few years ago, before I started Total Body Training, I was working at a big box gym, and I was getting ready to run a marathon. And this was a huge goal I'd had for a long time. What people don't understand is that before I started Total Body Training, I wasn't in the best health. I wasn't in the best shape. I, was partying a lot, drinking a lot, eating a lot poorly. I just didn't feel good. I was tired all the time, and I needed a change. And along the time that I was starting to change my life, something that I decided that I wanted to do was run a marathon. And, it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of focus. And that's something that I really needed from running, and that's the reason why I started it. That's why it caught my attention, so that's why I wanted to do it, right? But at the same time, I was also powerlifting. Now, I wasn't powerlifting for the sake of, looking a certain way necessarily or having huge muscles or anything like that. I was just powerlifting because I enjoyed lifting weights and I liked the way I looked from it. It wasn't, aesthetics wasn't the main reason, though. It was something that gave me a focus and something that gave me discipline, or at least it taught me discipline, right? Because I knew that if I could, go to the gym every day and commit to that, and I knew that if I could go running, this is something that would impact my life and make me happier and more determined and more goal-oriented. But before I ran the marathon, I started to hear a little bit of negativity, people kind of chiming in and giving me their opinion about why I was doing my marathon. And let me just say that, after I did my marathon, it got even worse. And all of this, by the way, was unsolicited advice. So, I'll give you an example. Like, I remember wearing my race shirt to the gym to work out, and it's a shirt that, that you can work out, and it's a dry fit. And it said that I had ran this marathon, and I remember having, people come up to me, multiple people, not just one, come up to me and be like, "Hey, bruh, you're killing your goals, man. You're killing your gains, man. Running all that distance. Like, you should stop running." Well, I didn't ask you, like, why are you telling me your opinion? First of all, guy, I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? And, what gets me about that is that it happened to me multiple times when I was working out. I didn't know this person. I wasn't rubbing in their face that I had ran, and I wasn't telling them that they needed to do that, right? I was just minding my own business, and they would come up and tell me what they thought I should do. "Hey, brah, you gotta stop running, brah. You're gonna lose all that mass." Well, I wasn't trying to gain mass. I wanted to run a marathon for the sake of learning discipline and focus. And you can learn discipline and focus through weightlifting, and I was doing that at the same time. But what I wanted to do is run. And here's the thing. There's a part of that's true, because when you do run, you do lose mass. If you look at my marathon photos, I looked way, way skinnier. But that is what I wanted to do, because I felt that the value of committing myself to running each and every day was going to teach me something that I don't think I would have learned any other way, at least in my life. And that was discipline. Look, negative people are typically pretty self-centered. They don't really understand anything else besides what they're doing right now and who they are right now. So they don't bother to understand why someone could want to do something outside of that. They maybe lack the capability to do that, or at least they don't do it. Look, sometimes I think too that sometimes negative people give their opinion when you're working on yourself. That's when they show up and really want to opinionate, because they aren't happy about themselves, So they're trying to critique other people because maybe it reminds them that they aren't doing the goals that they've set out for themselves, or they aren't actually accomplished in some kind of way, right? So, that's something to keep in mind. And I know that sounds maybe insensitive or maybe judgy, but, I'm not a psychologist, but that's been my experience. And especially with looking at people who are who are like that, I think a lot of them are just deeply self-conscious about their own goals or their lack of. Maybe you should pity them. I mean, think about someone who is a naysayer, someone who's talking trash on your goals, and really look at their life. Are they accomplishing anything? Have they accomplished any goals? Do they seem like they're happy? Maybe they do have accomplishments, maybe they have all this money, or they have some kind of success, but if they're not really happy, and this is a constant in their life, then that's part of the reason why they're negative. So, they're not really successful, if they are always down. That's not a good state of being, is it? Okay, here's how I see it. There's a few things you can do, all right? First, if the person's somebody inconsequential, just somebody you run into, somewhere, somebody you're not really going to hang out frequently with, so that's somebody who's not important. So it's not a friend, a family member, a boss, a coworker, something like that, then just let it go. Just walk away and, don't care. But, there are instances where you might have a friend, a family member, or a coworker who is very, very negative, or a boss who's very, very negative. So there are different ways you can handle each one of those, but the way I would treat it is I would just say, "Hey, thanks, but no thanks. Like, I appreciate your advice, but, I'm doing pretty fine. This is working for me, and it's not a topic that I'm interested in discussing. Just keep it to yourself." Just really simple. And the person might feel a little bit shocked at first, right? But if you just stay serious and you don't debate it really, you just kind of like, "That's just how I feel," then the person will have some kind of respect for you, even if they don't like what you're saying right then and there. Person persists and they keep going on, right? After you've said this, maybe a few days go by and they continue with their pattern of behavior, because this is, let's be honest, a bad habit for this person, then just start avoiding them, or put some distance in between yourself, spend less time with that friend, try to spend less time with that family member, or avoid the topics that will create this kind of negative conversation, right? And whenever that person might come up to you and be like, why aren't you spending more time with me? Or why aren't you talking about X, Y, and Z or whatever? And you just be honest with them and be like, look, I already told you that I didn't want to deal with your negativity. I wasn't interested in it, so I'm just putting some distance here. I don't think we have anything to talk about. And, I think that's a good start. I can't really think of too much else you could do, especially if they're a friend or a family member, besides ostracizing them. But sometimes you can't do that, or you really don't want to, or maybe someone is just being negative for a time in their life until they grow out of this. Because they could grow out of this, right? Maybe someone hasn't told them that they're being overly negative. And by you telling them that you don't like the way that they're talking about things, it might click in their head. They should change their perspective on life. And, that could be pretty cool to tell that to a friend and see them kind of grow and develop and change, Now you're the person who's influencing somebody. And there's power to that. There's strength in it. It's respectable. I'm telling you from experience that they might get a little bit mad because you're talking about their whole state of being, right? Like the way that they act, like from day to day, or the way that the personality that they've developed. So this is something that's really personal to them. Just try to be nice when you're saying it and don't back away from it. So don't pull away or say sorry or apologize for what you're saying. As long as you say it in a way that's not, intentionally hurtful and you're to the point, then you are actually being a good person because you're being honest. We should instead try being around people who are going places with their lives. You should hang out with people who are like you, people who are focused and committed on achieving their goals. You can also hang out with someone who is ahead of you, someone who you can admire and learn from. These are the kinds of people that you should be around. They're the kinds of people that I like to be around. So avoid negative people. They'll bring you down. Get with positive people. They will uplift you and they'll help you grow to be the kind of person you really want to be. And really, that's all I have to say for today. If you don't agree with something I'm saying, if you have some kind of qualm with what I am remarking here or expressing here, then go ahead and write it in the description section. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Should we avoid people who are negative, or should we try to, tiptoe around them? Do you feel that negative people influence you in a positive way? What do you think about this conversation, right? How do we treat people like this? That's what I would like to know. Are you a negative person? Do you feel that you're prone to negativity, and do you feel that your negativity is helpful to you? Answer any of those questions that you like at the bottom. Until next time, I'm Giancarlos, and this is Total Body Training. So I'll see you soon.